Welcome back to another episode of The Art of Volunteering. Today we're coming from the new Bell Recording Studios, fresh paint, new sign. Just hope that you like the new look. It's not completely done, so just stay tuned over the next few weeks to see if you like it. Today I have my friend Michael Rothberg with me. We've been trying for several months to schedule this conversation. He is a licensed social worker, and we're going to be talking about how mental health and volunteering kind of can support the other. Michael is a clinical social worker working in private practice in Cresskill, New Jersey. He provides counseling and psychotherapy to adolescents, adults, couples, and families. Cognitive behavioral therapy and psychodynamic theory are among the modalities he uses to treat patients. The most common diagnoses that he treats are depression, anxiety, ADHD, autism spectrum disorder, and OCD. So, Michael, thank you for coming on the show today.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Good to be here. I don't know what the studio looked like before, but it looks good to me now.
Well, that's good. It was kind of a beige wall and no sign, and we're just moving ahead.
I got you. I understand.
People talk about volunteering being it's more than just helping the person or the lives that you're impacting. It also benefits the person who does the volunteering. How does volunteering and mental health or mental well-being, how do they kind of work together, or what would that look like?
I guess I can use my own experience to kind of, to kind of inform how I feel volunteering, what that volunteering does for a person. I remember when I was in my early 20s, I was kind of lost, and I had just finished law school, and really didn't want to be a lawyer, and was really, feeling like I really didn't know what to do with my life, and I felt kind of just a lack of, kind of knowing me, and I felt just lost and unhappy, and I had always thought about going into a career helping people. So I decided to join a volunteer agency. And in the volunteer agency, we were trained, and we basically went out to people's houses. I had some kids, like a Big Brother type of program, and then I had some older folks. And what I found was it was incredibly, it gave me a sense of purpose. It gave me a sense of meaning, gave me a sense of myself. And, the feeling that you've helped somebody, at least for me and my personality style, and for many other people, is really, um, it's just it's a great feeling, because even though you're giving, you're really getting a lot back, because, and not that you should give to get. I think it's always
Right.
good to give, but in the giving, you see the people's lives getting better. And that's an incredibly satisfying feeling to have, and really kind of solidifies your place in the world. And if that's what you want to do. And so what I did was I kept on doing it, and I really liked it. And it really kind of, it gave me energy. Like, it literally, I felt like I could really, in my prior jobs, I would run out of energy. I'd be looking at the clock. I'd be like, when is this over? But when I was doing that, I never looked at the clock. I never wanted it to be over. I just kind of like, it just kind of fed me. It was like a source of fuel. And so when I went back to school, got my degree in social work. Um, and in social work, you do a lot of, in school for social work, you do a lot of volunteering also. That's part of the curriculum. Volunteered at a couple different places, mental hospital, a psychiatric hospital, a counseling center. And that further solidified, I knew I was in the right place. And then I went on from there, and, just kind of eventually went into my own private practice. But like recently I volunteered as a poll worker. Even that felt good. Just the idea of helping people, that people are usually lost when they walk in the voting place. They don't know where to go.
Right.
Like the sheets, and the whole thing is kind of overwhelming. And people are very appreciative, and it's just a great feeling. And it you really get a lot out of it personally. It's really very rewarding. Um, so I think mental health wise, it kind of helps with your sense of self and your sense of who you are, and really kind of builds that up. So if you have a strong sense of self and you like yourself and you like what you're doing, um, you're much more resilient to, you know, when things go wrong and when things are in your life are difficult, because you've got this purpose, and you've got these things that you're doing something productive and something um, of value to other people, and that just I find it to be very grounding and very good for just level of self-esteem. You know,
Right. I mean, I've read that it does help, like, give people a sense of purpose. Like, it's helping them be focused, not necessarily on the negatives of themselves. They're finding something outside of themselves to be involved in and giving to something bigger than themselves. Do you find that?
yeah, 100%. Like you don't feel like it definitely the sense of purpose is absolutely there, and the sense of giving something to something bigger than yourself. I forget what the first part of what you said was. You said something about you people say it's I forget what it was that you said. Is it
Yeah,
people?
like you get outside of yourself. It's not just you're
Yeah,
not just focused on yourself. You're focused outward.
exactly. Like yeah. So for example, like yeah, like so like can be the day and the tasks and the errands and the humdrum of every day can really make you go inside your head and really kind of get stuck there. And when you're helping other people, like you forget about your stuff. You really
Right.
it's gone. And
Right.
you're just there with them for them. And it's a great escape too. And
Right.
obviously it shouldn't be abused as an escape, where you're just not taking care of yourself and you're just doing that at the point to the point where you're literally self-sacrificing too much. But
Right.
it, in a healthy way, it definitely um takes you out of your own head.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would agree with that.
Another thing that I had come across is that it can help combat depression. How would that work?
Well, I think depression like is really happens when a lot of things are going on. It's there's lots of theories about depression. Some people think depression is when you're very angry at yourself and you're very ashamed of yourself. And so people get depressed because they turn their anger towards themselves. And when you're doing something that you feel good about, you're not mad at yourself. You're
Mm.
proud of yourself. And so and if you have suffered from depression and if you have suffered from anxiety, you know, taking that experience, which was so painful, and being able to understand that in other people and be non judgmental and really kind of just listen and not sit there and give advice and just kind of listen and be there for the person and just be a kind of a container where you can, you know, just be there and be there for their feelings. It helps them, the person that you're talking to, not be depressed, because depression also seems to happen when people are not expressing themselves.
Okay.
And when we keep our emotions kind of like bottled up, and not that obviously there's more to depression than just volunteering, but I think it definitely goes a long way towards one feeling good about themselves, getting out of their own head, you know, that type of thing. Yeah, so I'm a big proponent of that for depression. It's interesting because you know you also get to feel, like so when you're sitting with somebody and you're helping them, you get to emote too. You get to experience the joy of seeing their or the sadness of their lives or whatever they're going through. And depression a lot of times is a result of the body kind of revolting against itself when we're not living our truths. We're not living our true selves. Our body kind of there's a lot of books written on this. One that comes to mind is a book by Alice Miller called "The Body Never Lies," famous book. And basically, when we're not living our true self, our true feelings, and we're not being authentic to ourselves, our body gets mad and our body does weird things. Like we get stomach aches, we get headaches, we get aches and pains. We're more susceptible to illness, um, and we get depressed. And so it's just an opportunity really to do so many things that are that fly in the face of depression, that kind of that fight depression. I think it really is a really positive thing in that respect.
Very cool. I like that. Particularly from dating myself. When I was growing up, mental illness, mental health there's very much a stigma around it.
Absolutely.
Um, can you share how that's changed over time to like what the adolescents and young adults are experiencing now, where they're much more um, aware of what that is and being much more comfortable about speaking about it in a public forum? Just what you've seen?
I've seen it change, definitely. There's less shame about it. Um, Absolutely. But there still is a stigma. There's still some people that are, because they're so, I guess, afraid, they're afraid to admit to any type of vulnerability, and any type of that they need any kind of help in any way, because that would mean they're broken, or damaged. And so I think, and I don't mean to generalize, but most part, men rather than women seem to have more of a more shame involved with mental illness. But definitely, I think, it's definitely there for women too. I've got a couple clients that are definitely ashamed of what they're going through. And But overall, especially this new generation, the newest generation, this new young generation, they will they'll shout it from the mountaintops. They'll basically say, yeah, I'm in therapy. Yeah, that's great. I love it. It's great. I got to go talk to my therapist. Sorry, I'm can't come. I have a therapy appointment. Like it's very like normal chatter for them. Like normal, just like I've got a dentist appointment, or I've got a, so that
Mhm.
so I definitely think it's gotten better. And I think with you know, medications have their place. And I think people have over time really kind of seen that, like medications can help a lot too. And we can't ignore that they can help. And why live a life um that is full of pain if there's something out there that can help you? And So I think people have come around to the idea that, hey, you know what? I don't care. I just want to be happy. Um,
Right.
Whatever that means, whether it's seeing a therapist, taking medication, or both. So I think it's definitely gotten better. I still see it though. It's still there.
Yeah. I just the areas that I work in. I work for a nonprofit, and we work with high school students, and we actually partner with another nonprofit for mental well being, just identifying self care, what that looks like, and cues that you might need additional therapy or resources.
Right.
So, and we've really seen that increase since the pandemic, that really exacerbated an issue, and our students it's going to take years for them to recover and catch up from what the pandemic did to everyone, especially the high school students who are all ages, but really high school is like it just rocked their world, as it did everyone's, but we see it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it got avoidant people. It gave them an excuse to avoid more. And people that are people that like to be with people couldn't be with people. So
Right.
there really was, it really didn't work out well for anybody. And yeah, it was bad. And I definitely still see, I've got some 20-year-olds, people in their 20s that basically, literally they're socially behind where they should be, not because they have any kind of underlying social problems, but because during that time they couldn't develop. They
Right.
weren't in school, they weren't seeing friends, they were, and they got very used to kind of doing things online, talking to people online, playing video games or whatever it is. And really kind of just got used to that, and that became kind of the norm. And
Right.
Yeah, it was very damaging in a way that I never thought it would be, but it really it surprised me how it's still I still see the I guess the aftermath of it.
Right. So it's just something to be mindful. And then me being an advocate for volunteering, I can see how for that age range, encourage them to get out and volunteer, to re-socialize, to have those exchanges, an opportunity to explore passions that might have been put to the side because you couldn't. Or you talk about people who are very people, just re-energizing what that community looks like around them.
Right. It's really recharging, even for I think for introverted people volunteering, because I think a lot of times introverted people are sometimes avoidant people because they really don't like all the disappointment and all the and all the that comes with social interaction a lot of times. And they're self-conscious and all that stuff. But when you're helping somebody through volunteering, you're you're really getting a lot of positive feedback. You're really it's
Right.
really you're getting so much. You're getting smiles. You're getting tears. You're getting all types of stuff, and you're feeling it too. And it's just it makes you want to talk to people. It makes you want to
Right.
do So it really it can bring somebody out of their shell too.
Right.
Somebody that's really in like a deep like after the pandemic, for example, like people just got used to being in this kind of isolated place, and the volunteering really is a great way to reacclimate. um I have some clients that are volunteer firemen, and they love doing that. It gives them a great sense of things, a sense of purpose, and just and meeting the people they go out to, and that are, whether it's a not necessarily a fire, but just some sort of like an old person who can't get up or something like that.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I think all types of volunteering is really great, and I think that um, I think people just think it's giving, giving, giving a lot of times, and they feel like, oh, I can't do that. I don't have time for that. That's going to be what's in it for me, and but I there's a lot in it for people
Yeah.
that are doing it. It's really a lot in
Right.
it. It's really there's a lot to gain from it.
I was just going to say, I read someplace there's when people volunteer, they come out with a soft glow. Like there's this beauty to it that they are just feel so good about themselves. Like it was not about them for the time. I guess that's what it comes down to. It's others and then how it makes you feel, just all warm, just I don't really know the right word, but I had read soft glow. I'm like, oh, that's an interesting way of describing it.
I would agree with that. Yeah, like I've seen my wife come back from some from volunteering, and she might have been in a very critical or negativistic kind of mood, and she comes back and she just looks like proud of herself, and she's got this kind of
Yeah.
like I like life attitude, very positive, more positive view on life and just and people,
Yeah.
and just yeah, the soft glow is great. Yeah, I would say I've definitely seen the soft glow.
Yeah.
Uh,
Very cool.
Yeah,
Now, I mean, you talked about some of the volunteering that kind of led you into being a social worker or counselor. What was your volunteering journey like? A little bit more than what you had done.
I was interested in psychology, and I was also a lawyer, um, and so I was like, well, how can what can I do to how can I use my skills, because I thought I was a good listener, and I thought I had some legal knowledge. I was an okay lawyer. So I there was this place at the time. I don't know if it's still around, but it was called Volunteer Counseling Services, and it was in
Hmm.
New City, New York. And it was this beautiful, big building, and basically they had trained professionals there that would train you, just lay
Oh,
people, how to, for the populations or whatever you were going to do. So I was doing volunteering with mediating, doing like mediating for like divorce and stuff like that. And I was also doing, or mediating, just disputes. And then I was also doing outreach to, people at risk youth and stuff like that. And they provided the training, and they, I remember this was great. I remember one of the best things that I ever saw in any of my training, even my graduate training, was in this volunteer place. The woman brought out that was teaching it brought out a big, big glass of blue water, like a big, like a giant, like container of blue water, deep blue water. I think the water was colored with like food coloring. And she said, and we all were confused. Why are you bringing that out? And she said, and we're all just looking at each other. And she says, this is the person you're working with, this blue water. And we said, okay. And then she got another thing of water, clear water, and she poured it in. And the water obviously became lighter in color. And she said, that's what happens to people when you join them in whatever they're going through. The intensity of whatever they're going through becomes less because you join them and you've kind of, and they can share it with you. And I thought that was just the best thing I ever heard. That just spoke to me so much. And to this day, I still think about it. And that was kind of the image that I kept in my mind. You know, it's always something that's on my mind.
Oh, I like that. Because I mean, it applies to what you do as being a counselor, but that applies like to volunteering, like the impact we're having on someone else's life. We're lightening the load, we're uplifting them, we're just coming into the place where they're at and joining them and kind of like, that what from Avatar, like I see you, they're being a part of that. And you're just the waters become, less blue.
Yeah. It's just like, even if you have a family member who's upset and they come to you upset, if you automatically jump down their throat and start giving them advice or telling them not to feel that way, as opposed to joining them, oh, that must be awful, tell me more about that, wow, that's, god, and you literally, they see you understanding, and all of a sudden they feel understood, and that understanding is the lightening of the water, and then and you've helped them get there, and simply by just being present.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really something.
So, some of the questions I asked my guests are, why do you volunteer? And we've kind of covered that. Um, Also, from your days of being a volunteer, can you think of a blooper? Something that didn't go not necessarily wrong, but as you expected it. And one day out, just you're expecting it to go one way and it went completely different. Like, what did that look like? And what did you learn from it? Anything come to mind?
Yeah, I remember there was one time. I don't know why this one came to mind. I haven't thought about this in years, but I went to see this one kid, and he said, so he said, meet me behind my house, and I met him behind his house, and he had a like a little like a like a dirt bike, and he said, come on, get on, we're gonna go for a ride. And I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to be unsupportive of the kid. So now I'm on this dirt bike and we're flying through like bumps and jumps, and I'm terrified for my life. I'm like, what am I doing? And oh my God. And I felt like I was enabling this kid for this dangerous behavior. I was like, not only am I putting my own life on the line, this kid, I should have told him not to do this. This is terrible. We're gonna die. And thank God we made it back okay. But yeah, I was a little out of my league as far as how I should have handled that. If I had a little bit more training, I probably would have been able to kind of talk to the kid and be more honest with the kid and not worry about disappointing him so much, but at the same time be nice and say like, hey, I don't think this is a great idea. But and I went back and I told the people there at the place, and I said, this is what happened. And they said, oh, okay, don't worry about it. It's okay. Nobody got hurt, but this is what you do next time. And go for it. Just don't give up, and you're going to make some mistakes and that kind of thing. And but yeah, at the time I was like, oh God, this is bad. This is terrible. It was terrifying. So,
But you made it out alive, so that's good.
I don't, he was going so fast, and we didn't have helmets on. It was just absolutely insane. But we're okay, so that's good.
That's funny.
Yeah, so that one stands out. Yeah.
All right.
You go into somebody's house, you know, that's a big deal for somebody to let you in their house. That's their place. And they you know, they're sensitive about their house. They're either proud of it or not proud of it, or a mixture of those things. And um, I and it can feel weird being in somebody else's house, different smells. It might not feel may not be what you're used to as far as just the way things are set up or the way the lighting or whatever it is, and it might be filled with too much stuff and it might feel a little uncomfortable. But you know, you get past that, and you manage to just focus on the person, and that stuff kind of falls by the wayside.
I could see that. Just some of the volunteering that I've done, not necessarily in someone's house, but just being in different settings and just like, okay, focus on the main thing, which is typically the person that you're with or the activity that you're doing. So, if you were to encourage someone to volunteer, what would you say?
Well, I would probably say, have you thought about volunteering? Um, and depending on their answer, I'd say, well, let's say they answered and they said, um, no, why would I do that? And my answer would be, well, it sounds like you're struggling, you're feeling a little bit lost in life and without purpose and meaning. And this could be really good for you, not to mention the people that you're helping. But I think more importantly, for you right now, the person I'm talking to, I think this could really help you find who you are and what you're good at and what you like to do, and how rewarding it is to do things for other people. And I think that could really set the stage for your career, for a second career, for for older people that have retired. That it can be amazing for people are out of the workforce and they haven't done that, and they haven't done anything in a while. Like they feel kind of bored, and it could be really amazing for them. As in addition to younger people who really don't know what they're doing with their lives. So I think just for all ages, it's great. And I think it's great for parents to kind of encourage their kids at a young age. Like like my parents took me when I was younger to a soup kitchen.
Mm.
And I think that, just seeing that other people, not living in a bubble and seeing that other people don't have it the way you have it, a lot of people, and just seeing the satisfaction of, giving somebody a scoop of whatever it is you're giving them at the soup kitchen, and how appreciative they are, so that really nice.
Dr. Kathleen O'Connor was a guest on here, and she some of her responsibilities oversaw like enrollment management at LaSalle University. And I'd asked her about like high school students when they volunteer, like what does the college look at? And she was explaining like when you see someone who volunteers versus having a lot of just clubs, it means the volunteer is able to um, put themselves in someone else's shoes, more apt to be able to take in new situations, help people who are different than themselves and feel comfortable in those settings. So there was a lot of benefits of what they were looking for on a college application for volunteering. And I think that's very true with someone who has had that in the younger years, those experiences for going into college, for going into the workforce, where you have people who aren't like yourself for a variety of reasons, and just being able to adapt. And volunteering gives that opportunity at a young age to prepare you for that.
Yeah, like it always seemed like a box you needed to check off when you were like getting ready for college. I have to have
Yeah,
volunteering experience, and people just did
right.
it because they needed the experience. But then you ended up, wow, I really like this. This is actually something, and this actually is meaningful, and and I can see why the colleges value it. Um, I don't know who's reading looking at the applications. I don't know if they're just checking off boxes, but I would assume that some people really do care about that. And so, absolutely, I think it's a great thing to do when you were younger. When you're younger, I remember doing it when I was in middle school. I actually was at the beginning of high school. I volunteered, and I remember it really gave me a sense of confidence. It really gave me a sense of confidence, and like I was like nothing had before. Um, Getting good grades, doing well in school, yeah, that was fine and everything, but that hands-on kind of experience that really made me feel alive.
Well, that covers all my questions for today. I do appreciate your time.
Sure.
I may have you back on. We'll cover a different topic sometime.
Sure.
All right. Well, I want to thank all my guests, all my listeners today, and my guest, Michael, for sitting down and listening to this conversation. I hope that you found value in it. I know that I did. And just consider getting outside of your normal activities and get involved in a nonprofit, after school organization, or anywhere that volunteering is promoted, because not only will the people you help benefit, you will benefit, and you will have that soft glow that we spoke about.
We want to train my dog to stop barking.
Oh, we could try that too. All right. I just want to thank everyone. See you next time on The Art of Volunteering.